wealth creation, prosperity is not mathematical. I want you to really get that. There's other goals that are mathematical. But on your big money goal, if you have one, it's not mathematical, it's geometrical. Have you heard of the J-curve? You know, Paul Keating not so long ago was reminding us about J-curves and the Banana Republic. This is last weekend's newspaper, our credit debt on credit cards. Typical J-curve, can you see it there? Okay, it looks like this. Right, so in other words, what a J-curve does is, if this is 0 and this is time, it doesn't take the equal amount of time for the money to grow. For a long time it looks like nothing's happening. So my suggestion to you a little while back was 10%, is that right? And some of you thought, what's 10%? If only I could earn a little more, then I could save 10%. Wrong. Because it doesn't start the J-curve running. This is really important. If you're here for prosperity, I can't give you better than this. I want you to know that now. So, this is time. This is money you put in. After a little while, it looks like nothing's happening. But it's amazing how the universe works. If you stick to what you're supposed to be doing, and this is one of them, it's amazing the things that happen in your life. It's amazing the neurological connections that form. It's amazing the contacts that you develop. It's amazing the opportunities that come up. And it's amazing the investments that you end up with. It's just amazing. But the trick is this. Time here. You know, if you started here, and a little bit later you're here, you think, oh, this is good. But sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes it takes that little bit longer here before it starts. This, by the way, works all around us. So it's not, you know, I'm not telling you something that's with the fairies, yeah? I'm talking about things that happen on this planet. If you plant a little seed and come back the next day and get all annoyed because you can't see it, and you dig it out, what will happen? Disposable, right? But if you leave it there and nurture it, and add to it 10% of your pay, you pay yourself first, 10%. This is all you need. This is all you need. If somebody picked up their bags now and went home, I wouldn't be upset. This is all you need. There's more to come.
Can I just ask you, you know when you're saying about that 10%?
Yes.
10% to, you know, use this wealth creation.
To do nothing. To do nothing. Say, no, not to do whatever you want. No. To save it for you. Keep it.
All right. Like as an investment.
Yes, but keep it first. Start it first. See, people think you're talking about investments. If you talk about investments too soon, they'll say, well, what the heck? How's that going to help? Like today, my pay might be $300. What's $30? What can I invest with $30? Well, let me tell you, you can probably get 7 real cheap Telstra shares and still go and have a cup of coffee. That's what you can do, but they're not going to think that way. They'll think, what's $30? How can I get an investment out of $30? So, what I'm saying to you is, the first 10%, keep it. Just keep it. Just put it in the bank. It does nothing, I know. But it's better than nothing. Because it'll start working. You'll start changing. Yeah, it's what you'll become. Have sensory acuity. Have sensory acuity. Now, if you have a look at your, they're not marked, but anyway, it's the page after page 25. You don't get rich by taking poor advice. If you read The Richest Man in Babylon, it actually covers that lesson as well. Yeah? The good boy who was saving his money gave it to a, I forget what he was now, a carpenter to go get jewels or something. Yeah, it doesn't work. Bricklayer to get jewels. There's someone who read it, right? But the idea now is to do. Now, have you got your 10% saved up for the last whatever? Okay, so you're on the right track. Okay. Back to our pilot situation here, right? So let's just say I'm in Sydney, and let's just say this is Melbourne, and let's just say I'm going to Melbourne, right? Now, you all know the runways here in Sydney. There's, you know, the new one, parallel, and the other one, right? Let's just say you take off on one of these runways, and you're not heading towards Melbourne. What do you do? What does the pilot do? Does he say, well, no, that's it, I'm gone, I'm lost, I'm finished? I mean, the two runways aren't designed so that you can take off like a rocket and sort of just land there without doing anything. No, you have to have your radars, you have to have your navigator, and he'll tell you what to do, right? You've checked your plans, and so you make adjustments. And you get back on track. Which you never are exactly on anyway, but you get back on track. So that's your sensory acuity. You've got to use your radar to gauge whether what you're doing serves you. Flexibility of behavior. Now, the flexibility of behavior is also pretty important. If you have a look at the page after the barber, you know, the old woman or the young lady. Now, you've probably seen this before. If you haven't, it doesn't matter, it's okay. But what can you see? Can you see an older woman? Can you see a younger lady? What do you see? Okay. It doesn't matter what we see, because what it is sometimes we look at the same thing. Sometimes we talk to people and we think they're saying the same thing as what we're thinking, but in fact they're not. And the idea here is to be aware of that. You know the old cameras that used to take old pictures? What do you think would happen if they didn't change to digital? I mean, would they still be in business now? I mean, the digital cameras, everybody's got them on their phones nowadays. I don't know how to use mine, but that doesn't matter. But business has to be flexible. We have to be flexible. Things change. And the point number 5 is act from a physiology and a psychology of excellence. So always make your enjoyment greater than your effort. These principles, by the way, I mean, we can talk about them for weeks on end, or we can talk about them very briefly. The idea is for you to just take them home and study them. A good question to ask to clarify the between 3 and 4 is what I'm doing now getting me closer to where I want to be? Whatever it is that you're doing now, is it getting you closer to where you want to be? You know, this pilot here on his way to Melbourne is asking himself, is what I'm doing now getting me closer to Melbourne? The person who's looking for this has to ask himself, is whatever I'm doing now getting me closer to this or not? And if I'm watching Days of Our Lives, I don't think it's getting me closer to this. I mean, I'm not picking on anything. I'm just giving you ideas. Yeah. So you've got a couple of quotes there as well.